This episode of the BIC Magazine Weekly Industry Report is brought to you by Draeger Rental and Safety Services, your trusted source for industrial safety services and technology. We'll share more about Draeger later in the episode. Welcome to the BIC Magazine Weekly Industry Report, your go-to source for the latest updates in the energy sector. I'm Samantha, your AI podcast host, and today is November 1st, 2024. In today's episode, Texas upstream jobs boom in September. Blackstone is in talks to buy $3.5 billion in pipeline stakes, and other top news from the energy sector this week. But before we get started, we ask that if you enjoy our podcast, please like, comment, and share it with your colleagues. Your support helps us grow and allows us to bring you even more exciting updates from the energy sector in the future. With that being said, let's jump into the first story. We'll start the show off with some new data from the Texas Workforce Commission, which shows that upstream oil and gas employment in Texas grew by 800 jobs in September compared to August, marking the fourth consecutive month of increases and the fifth rise in 9 months this year. With weakness in global economies, international conflicts, and uncertainties at home, a positive job count for September is welcome news, said Todd Staples, president of the Texas Oil and Gas Association. Since hitting a low in September 2020 due to COVID-19, the industry has added 38,400 jobs, averaging 800 jobs per month, with oil and gas workers earning an average salary of $124,000. Next up, private equity firm Blackstone is reportedly in advanced talks to acquire minority stakes in EQT Corp's interstate natural gas pipelines for approximately $3.5 billion. This deal could help EQT alleviate its substantial debt from the recent acquisition of pipeline operator Equitrans Midstream. If successful, this investment, made through Blackstone's credit and insurance arm, would provide steady income while expanding its exposure to energy infrastructure, including the contentious Mountain Valley Pipeline, which began operations in June after extensive legal disputes. EQT will continue to operate the pipelines post-deal, which comprise 940 miles, with a capacity of 4.4 billion cubic feet of natural gas per day. This strategic move aligns with EQT's efforts to reduce its nearly $14 billion debt load, as the company is focused on selling minority stakes in its pipeline assets. We'll move on now to a story from the emerging Texas wind sector as Nova Clean Energy has finalized interconnection agreements and contracts for high-voltage equipment supply, related to a portfolio of wind power projects in the state. These projects are set to deliver up to 1 gigawatt of clean power at a time of unprecedented electricity demand. Construction of the facilities is expected to begin in late 2025, with power delivery anticipated by winter 2026. The portfolio, which includes multi-phase projects in the Delaware Basin and Central Gulf Coast, aims to address the growing needs of sectors like oil and gas, petrochemicals, and data centers, and features co-located battery storage. Before we move on to our next story, a quick word from our sponsor. This episode of the BIC Magazine Weekly Industry Report is brought to you by Draeger Rental and Safety Services. From daily operations to large turnaround and shutdown projects, partner with Draeger for smart technical solutions that protects, supports, and saves lives. To learn more, visit www.draeger.com. For our next story, the Energy Information Administration has released a report detailing the transformation of the oil and gas industry over the last 50 years. Between January and July 2024, total U.S. energy production was 68% higher than during the same period in 1974, driven largely by advancements in drilling technologies like hydraulic fracturing, according to the agency. Energy consumption also grew, albeit at a slower rate of 32%. This growth is influenced by population increases and economic activity, although energy consumption per capita has generally declined due to improved efficiency. Notably, the U.S. has become the world's largest producer of crude oil and natural gas, with net energy exports reaching 5 quadrillion British thermal units in 2024. As the industry adapts to new technologies and shifts in demand, its ability to innovate will be crucial in ensuring a sustainable energy future. Finally, we'll wrap the show up with a serious investment in one of the country's most important ports, as the Port of Corpus Christi Authority has received $105 million from the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency's Clean Ports program to implement zero-emissions equipment, enhancing efforts to reduce regulated air pollutants and greenhouse gases. With this funding, PCCA expects to achieve annual reductions of 186 tons of nitrogen oxides, 3 tons of PM2.5, valued at $790,000 in health benefits, 650 tons of carbon dioxide, and eliminate 800,000 gallons of diesel fuel consumption. The grant will cover about 70% of costs associated with deploying 3 battery electric tugboats, 8 battery electric forklifts, a battery electric sweeper truck, a shore power retrofit, and the repowering of 2 locomotives, along with the installation of 7 charging stations and workforce training. This initiative highlights a significant shift toward environmental stewardship within the energy sector. And with that, we come to a close on this week's episode of the BIC Magazine Weekly Industry Report. You can head over to bicmagazine.com to read the full stories discussed today, and make sure to follow us on all of our social media channels so that you never miss out on the latest developments, updates, and announcements from the energy sector. Have a great day, and remember, it's what we do together that counts. Thank you again to Draeger Rental and Safety Services for sponsoring today's episode. Make sure to visit www.draeger.com to learn more about Draeger's smart safety solutions for your facility. When safety matters, rely on Draeger, technology for life.